Welcome to 5 Minutes, your quick dive into the wide-ranging world of insurance, technology, and leadership. I'm Miguel Edwards, and I'll be your guide as we explore these topics that are transforming not just the insurance industry, but the business world at large. Along with sharing observations I've made over the span of my career in insurance, technology, and operations, I'll be chatting with some of the brightest minds in business and leadership. Whether you're a seasoned executive or a rising star, an industry expert, or just curious about how technology is revolutionizing insurance, this is your perfect spot for your weekly dose of insights. This is 5 Minutes. You did mention your work with the Florida Advocacy Forum. Just talk a little bit about what that is, what the goal is there, because that's another important piece here that's got to be talked about, just in terms of just the availability of insurance and the way the industry is working.
No shocker, Florida insurance is a mess. So anyone that's going to, there's no wisdom I'm going to impart on that. Everybody sort of knows that. But what I found, Miguel, incredibly frustrating, as now, in 2 weeks, I will have been a Florida resident for 4 years. Mm-hmm. And so I saw the train wreck coming, right, over time. And I fully expected our lobbying groups and our trade associations, the folks that are representing the insurance entities, to kind of muscle up and work with the regulators and work with the legislators. And that didn't happen. And we were literally on a financial cliff. And it took 2 special sessions here in Florida to finally put in things around litigation abuse and things of that nature. Okay, good, fine. We did it. Great. But what I saw this past summer and into the fall was a really concerted effort from public adjusters, trial attorneys. Miguel, the folks that you saw I was battling with, those folks have come out in full force. And they have basically said, wow, look at this. The Florida legislator and Governor DeSantis and the regulators have bowed down to the greed of the insurance companies, and we've gutted consumer protections for the greed of the insurance companies. You and I know, that's just so absolutely ridiculous. Right. But the public doesn't know. Mm-hmm. The media doesn't know. I was seeing media articles that were interviewing some of these folks. And so there's already a groundswell of political activity that's geared towards Tallahassee to get them to reverse this stuff. Because this is $1 billion moneymaker for the trial attorneys and the public adjusters. They made bank with the assignment of benefits and this other stuff. So the Insurance Advocacy Forum of Florida is not a consumer protection group. We are not a lobbying group for the insurance industry. This is a group that is impartial. We are lobbying for or promoting and advocating for what are the sound principles that need to exist, right, from a legislative, regulatory, and capital perspective to make insurance widely available in the state of Florida. Because guess what, Miguel? You can't make it affordable if it's not widely available.
100%.
So we're putting the cart before the horse, and everyone's talking about affordability. That's not the problem. The problem is availability. Yeah. With availability comes affordability, and yet no one's talking about that. And so I want to make sure that we have a neutral third party that can speak to all of the different parties around what it takes. I'll be very frank. Like, step one, what will it take to have global reinsurance attracted to Florida? Right? Put yourself in their shoes. What will it take for them to make risky bets here in Florida? Is it a heavy legal, litigative environment? No, they're not going to do that. Is it a situation where the regulators won't allow rate, compensatory with the risk which is severe here in Florida? No. So those are just 2 easy things that are on the table. It's like, we got to solve these 2 things, or else reinsurance isn't coming.
I love that. And that last piece that you just talked about, and it's probably a topic for an entirely different session and conversation. It would take hours to talk about, but it's always fascinating to me that you've got this nonprofit, you've got this advocacy forum that it's bootstrapped, right? I mean, you're not getting massive funding from all types of special interests, right? And it's right. We're talking about exactly, we wish, right? But it's unfortunate because we're in the middle and we're trying to be kind of just in general, just in terms of the advocacy movement itself. itself, trying to move toward benefiting the market. And it's so incredibly hard to do that when you're not backed by special interest, but you can't be backed by special interest because you've got to be objective, right?
I think there will be ultimately special interests who will see the value of what it is we're doing, but we have very strict criteria, right?
Okay.
Like listen, if you're an insurance carrier and you donate to us, we're advocating for strong markets,
right?
Not for you. Not for the carrier. So there will be situations where we will be if carriers are acting. I spoke to a defense attorney who has lots of insurance companies as clients. And he was like, Nick, some of these companies are sloppy. Some of them deserve to be litigated against. It's like, well, then those aren't the firms we're going to advocate for.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.